for receiving the mercy of Lord Nrsimha. These prayers are certainly assurance to all sincere devotees that the worship of Lord Nrsimha is purely in the line of aspiring love and devotion to Shri Radha and Krishna. The prayers are as follows. So this is the point that many people say that, this is neophyte stuff. This is for those who are on the path of Aishvarya Bhav, Vaikuntha. Prahlad's a neophyte. He's in Aishvarya. Maybe he's displaying that. I'm not going to get into that. It's not my business. But whatever it is, we know it is the business. Srila Satchidananda Bhaktivinoda Thakur is not an Aishvarya Bhakta. He may be showing that for the sake of the neophytes or the conditioned souls, but that's not his mood. That's not his inner heart. He's a Manjari, Kamala Manjari, an eternal associate of Rupa Manjari, assisting Lalita Devi on the spiritual plane. And so is Bhakti Siddhanta Maharaj, although he appears on the outside to be otherwise, and many people criticize him for his external preaching. But internally, unless we go through this cleansing process and give up all the anarthas and all the various devious ideas we have of pure devotional service, we can never reach that platform of pure bhakti, what to speak of practice Raganuga Bhakti. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur is showing us the way that we can come. The goal of devotional service is to come to Krishna Prema, Krishna Pamartha Mahan. This is our goal. And the goal to practice Raganuga Bhakti, but we have to go through the right channels. So he's teaching us the channels. So here we are now in a place called Nrsimhapali. And I'm sure some of you have been there. Who's been to Nrsimhapali? Quite a few devotees have been there. A wonderful place where there's a deity. In Godrumadweet, there's a deity of Lord Nrsimhadev. You may not see it very clearly, and I haven't got a clear picture, I'm afraid, but this is a very old deity and very unusual form. You can barely see the outline, I think, on the screen there, but it is Lord Nrsimhadev at Nrsimhapali. And that's the place where after killing Hiranyakashipu in that area, well, Lord Nrsimha went to take a little break and wash his hands. Just like, right now you have to keep washing your hands, right? The coronavirus. After kind of his scraping away there, he had to go and wash his hands, maybe some infection there or something. So these are the prayers. E dushta hridaye kama ariripachaya kutinati patishtasa satya sadaraya vidaya sodana ara krishna ravasana nrsimha charane mora eto kamana. I'm not going to read whatever it is, Bengali or whatever it is. I'm just going to read the English now. Within my sinful heart, this is Bhaktivinoda's 5 prayers. Within my sinful heart, the 6 enemies headed by lust perpetually reside, as well as duplicity, the desire for fame, plus sheer cunning. At the lotus feet of Lord Nrsimha, I hope that he will mercifully purify my heart and give me the desire to serve Lord Krishna. Just see. He's appealing to Lord Nrsimhadev, not just to purify his heart, but give me the desire to serve Lord Krishna. It's very interesting also that today is Nrsimha Chaturdasi, and tomorrow is the appearance day of Madhavendra Puri, Srinivasacharya, appearance or disappearance, I can't remember, but definitely one or the other. And especially tomorrow is the appearance of Sri Sri Radharaman. Sri Sri Radharaman deity in Vrindavan, and anyone who's been to Vrindavan has probably been to that temple and seen the beautiful deity of Sri Sri Radharaman. And Prabhupada very much, he was staying right next to it for many years, would take darshan at the deity and recommended devotees go there to learn about deity worship at one time. And so deity was, you could say, worshipped by Gopal Bhatta Goswami. Gopal Bhatta Goswami was worshipping Shalagram Shilas, which are generally understood to be made out of stone. And on this very day of Nrsimha Chaturdasi, he was hankering for the opportunity to worship Krishna in his form, human-like form. He very much wanted to worship, and he was praying like this on Nrsimha Chaturdasi that the Lord would appear. And he was remembering this pastime, how out of stone, the Lord appeared in the form of Nrsimhadev. So he was thinking like this, that Prahlad, by his loving devotion, was able to invoke the appearance of the Lord out of stone. He wasn't thinking his deities are stones, but he was thinking maybe the Lord will also appear to me if I also have this mood of loving devotion as Prahlad Maharaj had. So he was thinking like that. And sure enough, on the next day, which is tomorrow, his Damodar Shila, one of his Shilas, was no longer in the form of a Shila exactly. It had transformed into this beautiful form of Krishna. And apparently, I've never seen, but apparently you can see the Shila on the back of the deity, partially coming out from the back of the deity. That's how Krishna is not bound up. He can do anything he likes. He's everywhere. He can appear anywhere, anytime, in any form, as he chooses according to the circumstances. And as we read earlier, he assumed this form of Nrsimhadev. Now you'll find different descriptions here and there, no doubt. And we hear that Lord Nrsimhadev is the worshipable deity of Prahlad Maharaj. These tissues are not very good for this. They fall apart before you get them out the packet, They make everything so cheap these days, huh? Looks good. It's described in some places, as we read, Namo Brahmanya Devaya Go Brahmanya Tacha. Prahlad Maharaj is worshipping Krishna. Even in his prayers, he's saying Krishna, Krishna, Krishna. He's not saying Nrsimha, Nrsimha, Nrsimha. There's no difference, you could say, in one sense, but sometimes it's described that his bhava is towards Krishna. Reverential, but it's not just... the Lord assumes this form to protect his devotee. So here we have this prayer of Bhaktivinoda Thakur praying to you, please, give me the desire to serve Lord Krishna. In his next prayer he says, weeping, I will beg at the lotus feet of Lord Nrsimhadev for the benediction of worshipping Radha and Krishna in Navadvip, perfectly safe and free from all difficulty. And it's not just, people coming and harass us. It means internally, doubts and deviations and material distractions and so many things. All the anarthas, the 6 enemies. Lord Nrsimhadev kills those 6 enemies in our heart, lust, greed, anger, madness, illusion, and envy. Tears them out if we take shelter of him. When will this Lord Hari, whose terrible form strikes fear into fear itself, ever become pleased and show me his mercy? Even though Lord Nrsimha is terrifying towards the sinful souls, he offers great auspiciousness unto the devotees of Lord Krishna, headed by Prahlad Maharaj. You see, unto the devotees of Lord Krishna, headed by Prahlad Maharaj. When will he be pleased to speak words of compassion unto me, a worthless fool, and thereby make me fearless? He will say, dear child, sit down freely and live happily hearing Sri Gauranga Dham. May you nicely worship the divine couple, and may you develop loving attachment for their holy names. By the mercy of my devotees, all obstacles are cast far away. With a purified heart, just perform the worship of Radha and Krishna, for such worship overflows with sweet nectar. Saying this, will that Lord delightedly place his own divine lotus feet upon my head? I will experience sublime love for the divine couple, Radha Krishna, and undergo the ecstatic transformations called Sattvika Bhav. Falling on the ground, I will roll about at the door of Sri Narasimha's temple. Cool. Well, what to say, he's our Acharya. Bhaktivinoda Thakur ki jai. And Srila Prabhupada also. It was a daily function, and it's a daily function in all ISKCON temples. We chant. It doesn't have to be after every arti, by the way, but definitely after the morning Mangal Arti and definitely after Gaura Arti. And you can chant it after every arti, but you don't have to. It was never a regulated principle in ISKCON in the early days. Those two was definite, but others you can or can't. The more the merrier, you could say. But we'd always chant this daily, at least 2 or 3 times. The Namaste Pranams to Lord Nrsimhadev. Prayers to Lord Nrsimhadev. Very powerful. Not everybody agrees with this, but this is introduced by Srila Prabhupada himself, and we can see from the Bhakti Vinod how important it is. Well, I don't know. It's already 9:30 here. We're now about to begin. That was the prelude. When you have these PowerPoints, it's sometimes like that, you know. It helps us to go through, and it's being very rather tired, and it does help. So, this evening, what time's the drama? 5:30. 5:30. Oh, so it's the evening. So the drama's in French, so we'll get an extra special nectarian rendition of this pastime. So we'll briefly run through it. I'll not go into too much detail. We'll run through it in English. So we're going back now to the pastimes of Lord Nrsimhadev. It's very auspicious to hear these pastimes. We'll hear the benedictions later. But it starts off, we can say it really starts off with a question. Parikshit Maharaj is inquisitive in regards to Shishupal and how he was entering into merged into the form of the Lord after Krishna had severed his head in the assembly of Yudhishthira Maharaj, etc., and he merged into the form of Krishna. So he's very curious, what is this all about? So then Shukadev Goswami begins to describe the history of how this took place. So we're going to brief it. So the brief thing is, once upon a time, the 4 Kumaras, now they developed an attraction for bhakti, for devotional service. They wanted to go to Vaikuntha to see Lord Narayan. So as you know, most of you, and when they were entering through the gates, there are many gates to Vaikuntha, which we have to enter through. You can't get in unless you're pure. So they came to the gate, maybe it's the last gate or what, but there the gatekeepers, Jai and Vijay, prohibited them from entering. Stop! You cannot come in here. Who do you think you are, little boys? This is not for you. And they became a little angry because they weren't little boys. They were taking the position of little boys, so they never had to bother with the challenge of, you could say, of adulthood, remaining innocent. But they were the most learned of sages. So they, by the arrangement of Krishna, is described. You would wonder, why should they get angry, such elevated souls? But by the arrangement of Krishna, this whole pastime took place. They became angry and cursed the 2 gatekeepers. And then Lord Narayan came on the scene and settled it up that the 2 gatekeepers were given a choice, but they had to take birth as 3 times as demons in this material world. So sure enough, these 2 gatekeepers had to take birth as demons in the material world by the curse of the 4 Kumaras. So getting into the whole details, but in due course of time, it was arranged that they would take birth. And they took birth. Who's on the screen now? Is it the 4 Kumaras? Yeah. Okay. So then, who do we see here? Who's that? Huh? Kashyapa, huh? And Diti. Kashyapa and Diti. Kashyapa's 2 wives, Diti and Aditi. He was a great sage. He had these 2 wonderful wives. And Aditi gave birth to many demigods. But Diti, the wife we see here, she was, for whatever reason you could say, there must have been a reason, I don't know exactly, but she gave birth to the demons. And particularly Jai and Vijay, when they were cursed to take birth in this material universe, she appealed to her Prabhu, her husband. She became overwhelmed with sexual, sensual desire, lusty desire. And although it was an inappropriate time, she basically forced by her own, incredible desire and intensity, her husband to have union with her at a particular inauspicious time, most inauspicious time, when Lord Shiva and all of his various associates were passing through, etc. So they became the mother and father of Hiranyaksha and Hiranyakashipu. And Hiranyakashipu was the elder, having been impregnated first. Although Hiranyaksha came out first, the elder comes out second, being behind the other one. So in that way, Hiranyakashipu was seen like the elder of the two. But Hiranyaksha was always, on behalf of his brother, conquering the universe. Practically the whole universe was conquered. He even had the earth planets submerged in the lower regions of the universe, in the Garbhodak waters of the lower part of the universe. And then of course ensued a great fight. The Lord appeared himself in this gorgeous form. Quite a fierce looking figure of Lord Varahadev, appearing there as the first boar in the universe. And a great fight ensued. And of course eventually Lord Boar killed Hiranyaksha, slapped him on the neck there, and dead was Hiranyaksha. And the Lord restored the earth. So then Hiranyakashipu, the elder brother, was enraged. He realized that this was his eternal enemy, but his ongoing enemy, Vishnu, who's killed my brother. And he vowed to kill Vishnu at all costs. And then the story goes on. And of course everyone in the family was very distressed upon the death of Hiranyaksha. Hiranyakashipu was preaching to his family members very nicely. Actually, he's preaching about spiritual knowledge to his members. His family members. He had great spiritual knowledge. His fault was that he was envious of Krishna, very envious of Lord Vishnu. And anyone who worshipped Vishnu was his avowed enemy. The demigods, devotees and Brahmins, they were his enemy. Unless they served him, satisfied him, everyone was his enemy. We sometimes are like that in this world. That anyone who doesn't satisfy the way I look at it is my enemy. Sometimes it comes out that bad. Sometimes it's like that, as if they're against me. Because we only see it from our own perspective. We don't see it from a higher perspective. It's not always the case that person is our enemy. But sometimes maybe they are, maybe they're not. But we see it like that sometimes. So Hiranyakashipu was like in the material world, Prabhupada says we're all like little Hiranyakashipus, practically speaking. Envious of God also, in most atheism. Bhaktivinoda said atheism will be the main religion of Kali Yuga. So it's a very powerful force in this age. So Hiranyaksha is dead. Hiranyakashipu is now angry like anything. So what to do? He starts to think, and now he's going to perform great austerities with the intention of becoming unconquerable, undying. I will never die. So he goes to Mandara mountain here in the valley of Mandara, and there he performs great austerities, standing on the tips of his toes, his arms upraised, performing great tapasya. And hundreds of years, earth years, many thousands of years pass by. He becomes covered by an anthill and all kinds of things. You can't even see him. His body is eaten away, only bones remain. And he's performing this great tapasya, trying to evoke the blessings of Lord Brahma, that he will become eternal. And eventually Lord Brahma, on the request of the demigods, because there was fire coming out of his head, and the whole universe was getting scorched by the intense austerities, tapasya of Hiranyakashipu. Hiranyakashipu means soft bed and gold. Hiranya means gold. Manifestation of material life, money and sex life, wealth, power. He was a living personality, you could say, of this intensive desire for sense enjoyment. So he was so vowed to achieve his goal. He was going on. Materially, people do this sometimes. They undergo great austerities to achieve a goal, material goal. They fast, or they do something or another for days on end, weeks on end sometimes. So he was, for years, decades, performing this great, hundreds and thousands of years by Earth years, performing this tapasya. And eventually Lord Brahma appeared, brought his body back to, his body was just bones, brought it back to healthy condition. So what do you want? You're appealing to me. Demons, especially, they perform austerities like this, which torture their own body. So he requested this, I want to be immortal. Immortality I cannot give. I cannot give what I do not have. Oh, he was a bit taken aback. So then, the history goes, he won't say, but he asked so many other boons. And Brahma said, so be it. And he thought he would be immortal. Could not be killed here, there, and everywhere. By anything or anything. He thought, now I've got immortality. He became overwhelmed with indignant pride and began to really flaunt his so-called immortality everywhere, as if nobody could stop him. The whole universe up to practically Brahmaloka was under his control. The demigods, everyone was answering to Hiranyakashipu. Whilst he was performing these great austerities, it so happened that his wife Kayadu was pregnant. And the demigods, realizing what was going on, and that this Hiranyakashipu, my God, he's now performing these austerities, he's going to become even more powerful. And oh no, his wife is pregnant. My goodness, what's inside his wife's womb, Kayadu's womb, must be another powerful demon. We better get rid of this demon. So they thought, they took their risk and they kidnapped, Indra and his associates kidnapped Kayadu with the intention of killing the child. On their way to take the Kayadu to their abode, Narada Muni intervened. Stop, he said. Stop. You cannot take this child and his mother. Within this womb of Kayadu is a great devotee. They had no idea. They thought, must be a demon. Usually that would be the case. But Narada Muni said, no. Inside the womb is a great devotee. So he intercepted, and he took Kayadu to his ashram, and he preached to Kayadu Krishna consciousness. Daily she was hearing. She couldn't maybe understand much, but the child in the womb was hearing everything. Prahlad was in the womb, hearing Krishna Katha from Narada Muni. And thus he became a pure devotee, just by hearing within the womb from a pure devotee. And this is a special arrangement of the Lord. What was that story? I've forgotten. There's a story. How this happened. How on earth did Prahlad Maharaj, in the womb of Hiranyakashipu's wife, was such a great devotee? There's something. Did anyone remember that? I've heard it somewhere. No, not just the past life. It's something that happened when Hiranyakashipu conceived the child in the womb. There was something that happened at that moment.
The parrot.
Huh?
The parrot.
Parrot?
Om Namo Narayana Namaha.
A parrot appeared, huh?
The parrot was
Yeah.
around and
Yeah.
chanting
Yeah.
always this and
Yeah.
disturbing his mind.
Yeah. His parrot was there when he was conceiving, chanting Om Namo Narayanaya at that moment. And that attracted to the womb, disturbing him.
And what happened is that when he conceived the child, he said, this Narayana is disturbing me. He chanted the name of Narayana.
Yeah,
At the time.
exactly as he conceived, he said, "This Narayana is disturbing me."
Yeah.
And so Prahlad appeared. Huh? Amazing. I'd heard it a long time. I've forgotten. Thank you for that.
But this parrot, I don't know who was.
It was the parrot.
behind
Yeah.
the parrot.
In the Puranas, all these stories are there. There's so many. You could spend your whole life at. We just take the essence and chant Hare Krishna. So then, after some time, Hiranyakashipu returned, and of course Narada Muni returned Kayadu to the abode of Hiranyakashipu. I'm not sure if the child was born before he came back or not, but anyway, back they went, and Prahlad was the beloved son, dearmost son of Hiranyakashipu, endowed with all sweet qualities as a child, very pleasing to the father, and he was very proud of his son, thinking he's going to become a first-class demon. He gave him over to his spiritual master's sons, Sanda and Amarka, to educate this beautiful son. So they went out of their way, giving him all good education, and after a little while, Hiranyakashipu's son was very young, called the boy. When the teachers bring my son, yes, my dear son, he was petting him, and so sweetly kissing him and so on, and asking what, like a mother or father, especially the father, asked the son, "What have you learned at school today?" And the son says, "We learned how to add up 2 and 2 equals 4. We learned the history of France," or whatever it is, And the father is very proud of his son. Very good, very good. But Prahlad Maharaj didn't say the right thing. At least not from a Hiranyakashipu's point of view. He started talking about the glories of devotional service. And Hiranyakashipu, just see the talk of stupid, foolish children. Take him away, educate him properly, take him away. God knows where he's got this from. Well, God doesn't. God knows, but he didn't say God knows. Where he'd take him away. So they took him away again, thinking, what is going on here? Where's this boy got this from? So they took him away again and started to educate him again. They thought this time, we'll get it straight, we'll get him right. And he came back again. And his father asked him again. This time was really too much. This time was really too much. He thought, now, getting a bit older, he should have come to his senses and learned what we need to learn. How to fight, how to kill demons, how to kill one's enemy, how to be political, how to economics, how to enjoy the material world. He must have learned all the necessary sciences of warfare, everything by now. So he brought the child came back, teachers brought him in, and he asked him again, "So, my dear son," sat him on his lap, "what is the best thing you've learnt at school?" And Prahlad Maharaj, again, even more so this time, replied to his father, "Shravanam Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, Padasevanam, Archanam, Vandanam, Dasyam, Sakyam, Atmanivedanam." His father couldn't believe his ears. "Where on earth have you heard this nonsense? You rascal, where have you got that?" First of all, actually, he chastised the teachers. He said to Sandanamarka, "You rascals, you traitors, what have you done? You have educated my son to be a follower of our enemy." He was about to, finish off the teachers practically. No, we didn't do this. We don't know where it came from. They were terrified, praying envy. So then he turned back to his son. "So where did you get this from?" And he explained in various ways that, "My father, you cannot understand this." And we'll just read a few verses. Actually, we can read 1 or 2 verses from the Bhagavatam. Part 1, I think it's in this one. Let's see. Yeah. He said to his father, You, Hiranyakashipu said, you rascal, most fallen of our family, if you have not received this education from your teachers, where have you got it? Prahlad said, in this verse here, Matirna Krishne Parataks Vatova Mito Bipadyeta Grihavatanam Adanta Gobir Vishitam Tamishram Punak Punas Charvata Charvananam. They're fearless. Prahlad was completely fearless. A small boy, huge demon conquered the universe, threatening him. Fearless. He just preached straight at him. Prahlad Maharaj replied, because of their uncontrolled senses, persons too addicted to materialistic life make progress towards hellish conditions and repeatedly chew that which has already been chewed. Their inclinations toward Krishna are never aroused, either by the instruction of others, by their own efforts, or by a combination of both. Then he said, persons who are strongly entrapped by the consciousness of enjoying material life, and who have therefore accepted as their leader or guru a similar blind man attached to external sense objects, cannot understand that the goal of life is to return home back to Godhead and engage in the service of Lord Vishnu. As blind men guided by another blind man miss the right path and fall into a ditch, materially attached men led by another materially attached man are bound by the ropes of fruitive labor, which are made of very strong cords, and they continue again and again in materialistic life, suffering the threefold miseries. Unless they smear upon their bodies the dust of the lotus feet of a Vaishnav, completely freed from material contamination, persons very much inclined toward material life cannot be attached to the lotus feet of the Lord, who is glorified for his uncommon activities. Only by becoming Krishna conscious and taking shelter at the lotus feet of the Lord, in this way can one be freed from material contamination. Though this wasn't very impressive to Hiranyakashipu, to say the least. And he immediately threw his son off of his lap. Take him away! He became enraged. He told his guards, take this boy away, enemy of our family. He deserves to be killed. Huh? He's like, terrible. He was so angry with his son. I mean, some of the things he said is the killer of my brother. Prahlad was only five years old at that time. And he chastised him and criticized him in so many ways. And then the demons took him away and they tortured him. Here they are, trying to kill him with their various weapons. And Prahlad, as we don't say, maybe chanting Om Namo Narayan or whatever he's chanting, usually in our dramas, or we hear these chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. That's the lesson we're learning. When he appeared in the form of Haridas Thakur, that's what he was chanting. When the guards, the Muslim guards, were trying to kill him on behalf of the Qazi, and they couldn't kill him because Prahlad was Haridas was constantly chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, and being protected by the Lord as Prahlad was protected. Prahlad appeared also as Haridas at that time, at least, and he was protected also by the Lord. And the lesson to be learned, described by Vrindavan Das Thakur said, the lesson we should learn from this is Nirantara Namalao, that we should always chant the holy name. There is danger at every step, not just when we're immediately faced with it. Every moment of our lives there is danger. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Keep chanting, Prabhupada. Say, any spare moment, Prabhupada, say, chant Hare Krishna mantra. Chant. This is the nature of the pure devotees, always taking shelter of the holy name. taking shelter of Krishna. So they tortured him in various ways, intending to kill him. Burning fire, crushing of elephants, throwing him off of cliffs, and threw him amongst deadly snakes, put him in all sorts of places. A desolated island with wind and storms blowing. Eventually even tried to poison him with so much deadly poison. Still Prahlad was not dead. Hiranyakashipu was at its wit's end. What to do with this boy? Everyone in the universe has submitted to me except for this boy. What does he have? How is he overcoming this? What strength does he have to overcome me? His associates tried to, let's say, appease Hiranyakashipu, who was getting hopeless. Saying, don't worry, give us one more chance, they said. We will change his mind. He's only a 5-year-old boy after all. Give us another chance. So they took him away again. They took him away again. And they tried to give him education. But as boys do, they have their lunch break, their tiffin break. And during the tiffin break, what was Prahlad doing? He was preaching to all the other demon boys. Oh, one thing to be a demon yourself, but when you convert others, that's too much. The same thing with Haridas. When he started converting Muslims, that was too much. So same thing here. When Prahlad was converting all the other children of the demons, and they were becoming devotees. He was pretty famous for his Prabhupada many times lectured on this. Komaracharet pragyo dharman bhagavataniha durlabam manasam janma tadapya dhruvam hartadam. Prahlad Maharaj said, one who is sufficiently intelligent should use the human form of body from the very beginning of life. In other words, from the tender age of childhood, to practice the activities of devotional service. Giving up all other engagements, the human body is most rarely achieved, and although temporary like other bodies, it is meaningful because in human life, one can perform devotional service. Even a slight amount of sincere devotional service can give one complete perfection. He was preaching to boys in so many ways. Don't waste your time playing ball. Human life is wasted in childhood playing, then in study, in youth, and then girls, marriage, children, work. Most of our life sleeping is wasted. And then when we get to old age, we're too old. Don't waste your time. Take up Krishna consciousness now while you're young, while you can. Don't take the chance. He was preaching to them like this, philosophically as well. And they would dance and chant during their lunch break, singing and dancing the holy name of the Lord. Because this eventually came to the news of the teachers, and that was the final straw, you could say. Prahlad was too much. They took him to Hiranyakashipu. And when Hiranyakashipu found out what was going on, he really got quite angry.